spawning down in the bottom left corner, the man who is down 0-1 from Team No One. It is Brown.
And spawning up in our top right-hand corner here as our purple Zerg, 1 game up. She goes by the name of AcerScarlett.
You know, this is a fun map for Zerg to do some switch-up type strategies on. It's so easy to do early pool strategies and recuperate as a Zerg player. We've been seeing the Acer Zergs, Scarlet and Nerchio both doing early pool and then not getting the early queen, just going for the hatch, something like an 8 pool into expand and then queen. Pretty interesting timing.
Yeah, I would agree. It's interesting to see some of those little bits of, slight deviations that will come out from standard metagame play. But, Scarlett's one of those players that actually likes just sitting back and being completely fine with the current metagame. Sometimes, if you see her shift, actually, I don't think I've ever seen Scarlett do anything other than completely standard. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, Scarlett is sort of the canonical, the thing that makes standard look sexy. It's so easy to just be like, oh, I don't want to do standard play. I want to do cool, inventive play. And then instead you watch Scarlett just get the whole map covered in creep, have 15 more workers than every other Zerg at the same time, and you're just like, I want to do that. Scarlett really does an immaculate job at snatching up every little tiny edge, and I'm thrilled at the chance to talk about it as this game goes on.
Yeah, it's already been a pretty impressive group. The time has actually flown by. We're pretty much in the halfway mark now. Game 2 of the 3rd series in 5 series. So but it's just gone so damn quickly. These games have been pretty cool, I must say.
Really exciting games. You were talking about Brown's tenacity with attacking, seeing an opportunity and just bursting right in. What are your feelings on the way he has been playing Protoss versus Zerg? Because we certainly saw that against Tasia in the last game. But again, what about the PvZ matchup?
Yeah, the only really the big factor that I can come back to here and kind of attribute my knowledge to will be the Korean qualifiers and the way in which he was handling life. Now, he did go for a few 2-base plays. It was pretty much like 2 builds that were just the Immortal All-In, but other than that, he was happy to go into 3 bases. We saw him hitting just before Spire and Hive had actually got completely up and running, and that's something that Brown feels more comfortable with than any other tactic. So in game 2, I'm looking out for that, more the 3-base timing play, as that's normally what I was falling back to.
Well, there it looks like we see the 3rd base going down for Scarlett. The Cybernetics core going up, and we see that annoying placement for the Overlord. Actually, Scarlett is poaching a little bit farther forward, stepping right on over that natural expansion, wants to keep an eye on both of those gases, so.
Yeah, can't see the Cybernetics core finishing up soon, but she'll know the timings. She will be able to move that back at some point. As for now, we just have Scarlett back home. As you said before, getting that expansion. No real deviations here from Brown either. Double gases are in his main. He's throwing down that pylon in the bottom left-hand corner, which is so normally used to go for some kind of, either extra forge positions or a Stargate positioning, for example. And there's a Stargate, actually.
I do like Stargate openings on this map, especially a low on Void Ray, high on Phoenix, high on life sort of play, Kalaris, where rushing for 4 Phoenixes allows you to lift up Queens and kill them off in a single lift. And then transitioning pretty easily into taking a 3rd base is pretty fun. Especially you can cut the Stalkers out of the composition, and it's not too tough.
Yeah, and for now we do have Brown actually adding on the extra gas guys. That is natural. So just really fueling this extra production, which is a little bit more gas intensive in the form of that Stargate. I'm right with you though there with the Phoenix player over the Void Ray play. Void Ray's a
he's building a Void Ray. I'm
well.
not as much of a fan of this as you could surmise.
I would have never guessed from that scream of peril, but he's going to go for it, and it can work out. Let's not, completely discount it. It can work out. Following it up with Phoenix is my flavor of preference, but some people do even go crazy and get 2 or 3 Void Rays, which is just weird and hard to make work, but, you can sometimes.
So there's actually nothing wrong with going for a Void Ray. I just personally don't. It's
No,
not
you're right.
as thrilling as Phoenix play. Phoenix play is a lot more aggressive, does a lot more damage, but with the Void Ray, you have complete dominance over both of the watchtowers. You can just patrol back and forth and shut those down. Roach counter swings, you can easily stay alive as well, but you can't really do anything with it. You can't attack so much. It ends up being quite weak unless you really drill them really hard, and your micro is as good as MC's.
Yeah, and the big downside of Void Ray opening as well is the fact that that Overlord that's always hanging over your natural is always going to be the first target, like almost every single time on this map. So Spore Crawlers are now up, you know, extra Queens if needs be were going up, but they're not. Scarlett's happy with just the Spores and the Queens right next to one another, actually, so a nice defensive position. And, you know, he has to pull back for now.
See, this is what I mean about the Void Ray. It's just in the modern world, the way things have been going, it just ain't the thing you want to do, Kalaris. There we see Overlord easily getting sniped apart. I mean, you can take your third base. We see the Robo going up very aptly. Immortals and Observers going to be the next big thing. But in my eyes, the Void Ray is just a very unexciting control play. Control the watchtowers, pick off the creep tumors in a very flat manner. So, that's what I think, James.
Interestingly, Sean, there's a post on Reddit that says Acer has just welcomed Brown and Scarlett has posted confirming it. But anyway, that's by the by. As for now, we still have Brown here poking out in the middle of the map, trying to find some kind of position. And actually picking up some roaches here, trying to stifle their production as well. Scarlett getting aggressive at this third base, but I don't think these Zerglings and roaches are going to do too much. They've already been spotted, and as such, Brown can probably build quite a nice wall here.
Yeah, well, things are looking quite nice for Brown defensively. He's lifting up some roaches. Poor roaches, just sort of floating in the air. Not really getting shot, but just getting quite airsick. Turbulence, always a problem when you're being lifted by the Phoenix. And now the Colossus coming out. So it's just a very, very standard-looking defensive Protoss structure, a control Protoss structure with the Observers and the Void Rays all a boot. But that Void Ray really needs to hightail it up to the Watchtowers and shut down that vision.
Yeah, shutting down vision here is so paramount. As for now, we do have those 6 extra infestors on the way, as you point out, with that Purging Glands. 1-1 going down here for Scarlett. So I love laying infestor mid-games if you can make them work out with the Hive already on the way. Ah, my brain! That's pretty quick. And the Spire is going down too. Scarlett, she loves these very, very nice, neat Hives.
Not everything is pretty much standard, with the exception of this really cunning little top left base. I mean, in my eyes, that's one of the things that makes Scarlett a really exceptional Zerg player, her ability to always be over-eager with the expanding, always be correctly eager with the expanding. Not over-eager, not in a way that will cause dilemma, but to say, oh, you are going expanding and Colossus and air. I guess the one thing you should be low on is ground units. So taking this top left base, infestors should be able to deal with this.
I have to say though, Sean, I actually have a huge sweet spot for this Void Ray plus Observer. I mean, unfortunately the Void Ray is going to get shut down now, but just killing off the creep tumors where Brown could is such a cool little move to incorporate into the build here.
It's just, again, it's a very control sort of play. It's a sort of keep the Zerg at bay so I can do my own thing sort of play. But look at this, pushing without blink, flooding with, holy cow, 10 total gateways.
Whoa, that is oh my god. Well, I mean, in terms of the 3 base timings, if you want to get any more 3 base timing than that, then Brown certainly could hit very, very vigorously this. Even the double Robos for the double Colossus production. And, I mean, does he know about the timing of the Hive? No, he does not. Nor does he know about the timing of that Greater Spire. So the timer for this is dwindling slightly, but even still, Blinkstalkers and a critical mass of Blinkstalkers can work wonders once your Colossus die off.
Oh yeah, +3 attack coming in, Observer getting picked off. And there's the push coming in. Starting to see a couple more counterattack angles coming up from Brown. He looks like he wants to be gearing up to hit that top left corner, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. Scarlett was probably just going to sacrifice it.
Yeah. That's for now. Let's see how many gateways in total. Some Phoenix popped out. And, yeah, okay, so it is 10 on that in essence as for now. Still positioning himself over in his third location, but again, it's 171 supply, and still doesn't have any clue about the Hive timing as well as the Spire timing. He needs to know, he needs to push now, or doom could befall him. Those Broodlords are getting very, very close to beginning.
This is really dangerous timing. I mean, 3 Broodlords is not amazing, but it's the 9 Corruptors that I really think that Brown's gonna need to be worried about. Is just flooding. It's the big 3-base all-in, hitting right now with how many Colossus? 4? That's a lot higher than a lot of Protosses have at this point in time.
Oh.
This is Brown's big all-in attempt.
He kills the base up to the top left-hand corner. There was just one last swipe required for those Zealots. And meanwhile, actually, Scarlett's just going to push in here regardless. And the more Broodlords actually back this up. The Corruptors are going to continue the chase here with the Colossi.
Wow.
And this is looking... I can't even tell. The Infested Terrans are on the way trying to kill a lot of this off. There's not that many Stalkers left.
Holy cow. Like, Broodlord's not even taking part in this fight. Now finally coming in from the back end. But I mean, what incredible timing here by AcerScarlett, just shoving Brown back very hard, but the Infestors are out of energy.
Ooh.
This seems like a little bit too bold. What are the Infestors doing? What is going on? Oh, what? So many of everything lost their lives there.
Yeah, and with all of these gateways to reinforce, Brown now has a fantastic path to actually just push into this location. The majority of what Scarlett's been reinforcing with has been Zerglings, but when Brown decides suddenly to swing in with a ton of Zealots with +3 weapons, I'm not so sure that those Zerglings are going to have the best of times. Oh.
This is just not panning out well. Scarlett sending in some units, leaving the Corruptors back. Infestors not engaging. Kind of uncoordinated attacks. I mean, I think Scarlett did well in that first engagement and then swept in a lot too over-eagerly. Just did not have enough stuff. And now we're seeing the standard sweep around from Brown. 2 Colossus being produced at a time. Infestors trying to find units to snatch up at the left side, but the 4th base is going to be pretty much dead. And the 3rd now under harassment from some Zealots.
Scarlett is under a lot of pressure. Brown's playing this out phenomenally, blinking forwards with the Stalkers in the middle of the map, just trying to find a location to actually deal with all of these Infestors. And if he can just kill off a few, that's fine for him. He might just have got a little glimpse of those Broodlords morphing in, but he has so many Stalkers. As long as he continues to harass, kills off more Infestors here. Scarlett's leaving them out in the front, and they take so much damage.
At the 3rd base, the Zealots have killed off literally every single drone. 25 killed off. 5 of those Broodlords popping up. The Roach Infestor are not even in the correct position. And now it looks like Brown has managed to stabilize, stay alive, is blasting through, and Scarlett says, GG. Series ties up 1-1.